kind of stumbled upon some of this footage the other day on the computer, and it's older footage from 2020 and 2021, I believe. And it was around the beginning of 2020, I think January, the last clip on here. But here's some of the deliveries that I did. A lot of times I get pictures of them from my Google page. There's how I delivered it with a little Saturn view, a 5x10 utility trailer with rails on it. There's the time I delivered the 3 cords in one day right there, give or take. And then here's kind of what my backyard looked like for a while at my old place where we used to live. This is when I was getting the wood from the tree services. They kept me in wood pretty good. My backyard was, I had a lot of wood back there. This is the cattle farm that I mentioned I used to get the wood from, and I got a lot of locusts from here. And also the old man that I got it from, he said some of the stuff you'll see me splitting here later on, he said that it was cherry. That's what he said most of the wood was, but I'm not sure if that's true or not. I couldn't really tell what it was. It didn't have bark on it. It was dead, whatever it was, and not the easiest thing to split, but not the hardest either. This is the truck I'm using right now for the firewood. I gave $600 for this truck, which I think was a great deal. It's 4-wheel drive, and the 4-wheel drive works great. It didn't have a front bumper when I got it. That's why that one's sitting a little odd. It's actually, this is a 1997 Ford F-150 with a 4.6 V8 4-wheel drive. And the bumper, I drove about an hour or so to get that bumper. And then it took about an hour to get it off because the truck was down on the ground. They had taken the front tires off, so it's pretty hard to get in there to the bumper. But me and my partner here finally got the bumper off and put it on, and it looks so much better, even though it is a little, it's hanging down a little bit there, drooping a little bit, but later I can maybe try to fix that, which I'm not real concerned about it. And for $600, I'm pretty happy with it. And it is pretty messy on the inside, which my trucks are like that usually anyways, honestly. They're work trucks. So I love these old trucks. Even though this isn't that old, I like the older models. Let's see. We're going to try to fill the trailer up if we can. This 5x10 utility trailer. Last year I had rails on this thing that I built out of 2x4 somebody gave me for free. And I was able to fit a whole cord of wood, a full cord of wood on that with the rails on it. So we're going to try to fill this up today, and the bed as well. It'll all be hand splitting, and I'm going to have to bucket as well. I have quite a few good memories of that farm. It was a very beautiful place, and he actually had 2 separate farms that I would get the wood from. And most of the time I got it from this one, and it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I may end up actually going back and getting more from him again. It was a very good source of wood. Actually, my first year and my second year, I believe, he was one of my main sources of wood. I got it from tree services, but a lot of it I got from him as well. Probably more from him, really. And part of the reason why was his wood was seasoned. He had a lot of standing dead locusts, dead standing, and that stuff was ready to go. I sold it to one guy, and he requested it after that, if I'm not mistaken. He talked about how good it burned, how well seasoned it was, and they were very dead. The trees, they wasn't rotten. Actually, some of them were a little rotten. Had been dead so long now that I think about it. Some of them were a little rotten. I actually remember cutting a couple trees down and going through all that trouble and everything, and then almost the whole tree being rotten. So now that I think about it, some of them were. You can tell Carter's a little smaller here. This particular clip here, I think, was from, well, the one that was showing, I think it was from 2021, maybe around the beginning or around the end of 2021, or it may have been around the end of 2020. I think it was around the end of 2020. So coming into the winter of 2020, the end of that particular year. But now this clip here is actually at the beginning of 2020. I think this clip here is in January of 2020, so this is actually before the other clip that you saw me with the truck. And this particular clip of me splitting here, I didn't actually have that Ford truck yet. If I'm not mistaken, I was using a little Saturn View. And as you can tell, I was much lighter then. I don't know if you can tell that. I can definitely tell by looking at myself. I can even tell in my movements a difference. I'd say right there I was probably around 218 pounds. And the other day I stepped on the scale, I was 270, if I'm not mistaken. So quite a difference. Is that 60 pounds or something? 50 pounds. And it's a big difference. 50 pounds you can feel on you. Yeah, when I was at 200 pounds, I mean, I was solid at that weight, strong. Still strong. I ain't trying to brag about myself. I'm probably actually a little stronger, but man, I moved good at 200 pounds. Even here at about 218, I can just tell a difference in my movements, and I can move like that all day too. I think this actually may be my first winter right here. This particular clip here of doing my firewood business, because I started in 2019, but I started, so it would have been around September of 2019, and this is January of 2020. So here I'd probably only been hand splitting for maybe 3 or 4 months, something like that. And I got pretty comfortable with it pretty quick just because I did it so much. I did it full time. I mean, I was doing it a lot. Whenever I wasn't out getting it from him, I was getting it from the tree service, loading it up on my trailer, bringing it home and splitting it, and then stacking it. So I was staying pretty busy with the wood. And I got pretty comfortable with an axe pretty quick. I mean, the first time I swung one, I took it outside and with a chopping block. I think it was a double bit axe. I put a piece of wood on the chopping block. I missed the piece of wood when I swung, and the axe went between my legs and almost hit my leg. So I went and looked up firewood or hand splitting firewood or something like that on YouTube, and that's how I found Buck and Billy Ray. And I just watched him, and I was really fascinated with how well he did. And I've mentioned this many times before, but I mean, actually, in this particular clip here, it wasn't that long before this clip here that I had found him and watched him and began studying him, and then I went out and started putting that to use. So here I didn't even have a year of hand splitting under my belt, if I'm not mistaken. This is my first actual year, my first season of doing a firewood business on my own. So I mean, at this point I'm pretty comfortable with an axe. Like after a month or so doing it, I was pretty comfortable with it. Now it's been about around, like this is my 4th year, and I feel very comfortable with an axe. You see the old Fiskars there. I told you I've been using them since I pretty much started. Really, I mean that was my first year, if I'm not mistaken, right here, and that's what I have there is a Fiskars. I did use a double bit, and I used as well. I don't think I had that monster maul at this point in this clip here. I think I had a double bit, maybe in that Fiskars there. And then later on, I found that monster maul at the peddler's maul where you seen me get the axe handles from, if you ever seen that. But I know this isn't a whole lot of footage, but I used to have another YouTube channel in the past. It's been about 2 or 3 years ago, and I did lawn care and firewood on there. And but I didn't have it as long as I've had this one, which I've only had this one about 2 months. I may have had it a month or so, something of that nature. And I do regret deleting the footage. I don't have any of that footage. And I had actually quite a bit of good hand-splitting footage on there, and loading up the wood and everything. Maybe even some deliveries. I wish I would have kept that. It's different to see though when you look on here. I mean, it's something to see it. How fast things can change. I mean, I've gained 50 or 60 pounds in the last 2 years. I mean, me and my friend were even talking about that. He said, I seen you one time, and the next time I seen you, like 20 or 30 pounds heavier, and the next time like 20 or 30 pounds heavier, and then I just kept moving up. And now here I am, kind of not far from 300 pounds, 5'10", around that. Okay, here's that's all of that footage. So now I've got some pictures. There's a delivery. There's a bench I actually made, and I was pretty happy with how that turned out. There's another one I made for my kids. This video is coming into an end here soon, but there's the trailer. One of them I used to use. I had a dual axle one for a while, and you can see you can fit a lot of wood in there with the rails. But anyway, this is just some old footage. I wish I had more to add to it. I figured I might as well go ahead and add it though. But being as the video's almost over, I appreciate you watching. And anybody that does this, be safe, and God bless you.